As soon as Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever were eliminated, Alyssa Thomas, Connecticut's best player, or Connecticut's most hyped player, went to the podium and started complaining about Caitlin Clark.
I think in my 11-year career, I've never seen anything like the racial accusations aimed at the Indiana Fever fanbase. Alyssa Thomas just got suspended after what's being called a brutal incident involving Caitlin Clark, and the meltdown that followed has been nothing short of embarrassing. After delivering a poor performance against the Minnesota Lynx in the playoffs, it seemed like she couldn't handle the pressure. So, what did she do in her post-game interview? Instead of taking accountability, she pulled the racism card out of nowhere, shifting all the focus onto Clark's fans and accusing them of being racist. So, if you're watching this video, there's a 99% chance you're a Caitlin Clark fan yourself, and according to Alyssa, that makes you a racist too. Well, thanks for clearing that up, Alyssa.
Those guys, they're the racists, when really, y'all are the racists.
Are they racist? It's crazy how blind someone would have to be to ignore Clark's insane stats and reduce all of it to her skin tone. If that's really the argument, then the suspension was more than deserved. But here's the real question. Do you actually know what she said that got her into this mess? Why is everyone suddenly turning on her? And is there any chance the league eventually forgives her? Let's get into the details real quick.
We all know what this really is. It's an attack on Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's the wrong face for this league because her fans are so racist.
So the Connecticut Sun just crashed out of the playoffs in the most humiliating way imaginable after taking a brutal smackdown from the Minnesota Lynx in Game 2. And after completely falling apart on the court, Alyssa walks into the post-game interview, already looking like she's on the verge of snapping.
It's unacceptable, honestly. And there's no place for it. And we've been professional throughout the whole entire thing, but I've never been called the things that I've been called on social media, and there's no place for it.
And there's absolutely no place for that. But the moment a reporter finally dared to bring up her performance, it was like a switch flipped. Instead of addressing the obvious, her complete disappearance in the playoffs, she immediately went on the offensive, accusing Caitlin Clark's fans of being racist. She didn't frame it as a few bad actors online. She didn't say she was dealing with isolated social media hate. No, she went all in, painting Clark's entire fan base with the same brush, claiming they were out there damaging the mental well-being of Black players.
You know, we come to play basketball for our job and it's fun, but we don't want to go to work every day and have social media blown up over things like that. It's uncalled for, and something needs to be done, whether it's, them checking their fans or this league checking. There's no time for it anymore.
It didn't feel spontaneous at all. It was almost like she'd been holding on to that angle, waiting for the perfect moment to release it, just hoping someone would question her awful game, so she could flip the entire narrative. You could see the confusion on the reporters' faces. They didn't even know how to react. No one followed up, no one asked for specifics, and no one pushed back for proof.
Instagram and Twitter, these are choices we make. There's an easy way. The league doesn't have to get involved. The Indiana Fever don't have to do something to get you away from social media. Put your phone down. Don't download the apps. Don't engage.
They just let her run with it. The focus completely shifted from her playoff disaster to this manufactured controversy. Instead of being called out for that pitiful performance, everyone suddenly got caught up in Alyssa Thomas versus Caitlin Clark's fan base. It's almost shocking how fast she flipped the script, transforming herself from the worst kind of goat on the court into a so-called victim of racist fans.
Well, now they found another victim, the fans of Indiana. Now, I'm going to side a little bit with these idiots. I'm going to side a little bit with Alyssa Thomas, who said she is the latest WNBA woke gas bag to rip Indiana Fever fan over alleged racism, demanding the franchise and league do something about it. What do you want them to do?
But you can't help but wonder, was this really just a heat-of-the-moment rant, or a calculated move to deflect all the criticism coming her way? Alyssa Thomas came out swinging, claiming that in her entire 11-year career, she's never faced this kind of abuse until this season. And guess who she's pointing fingers at? The Indiana Fever fan base, the very same fans who've been riding the Caitlin Clark hype train ever since her jaw-dropping rookie season took off.
But who gives a rat's ass? Seriously.
Here's the kicker. Did she bother backing up her claims with, I don't know, a single shred of evidence? Nope. Not a chance. No examples, no incidents, not even a vague tweet to lean on. Instead, she went with a blanket accusation, basically implying that the entire Fever fan base is out to destroy her mental peace, because apparently, Caitlin Clark's mere presence in the league is just that toxic. Nice try,
Caitlin
Alyssa.
Clark is Kunta Clark. She's the actual slave that everybody else is exploiting for their benefit. Angel Reese included at the top of that list. Now Alyssa Thomas jumps in and says, let me get my piece.
But let's talk about the timing here. Why drop these bombshells right after getting crushed in a high-stakes playoff game? It couldn't be more obvious. She was desperate to change the narrative. She knew the media would be ready to pick her apart for that dismal performance, probably waiting to grill her on why she folded when her team needed her most, or why she let herself get completely outplayed on the biggest stage of the season. So instead of facing the music, she pulls out the ultimate misdirection play, flips the blame onto Caitlin Clark's fans, and hopes everyone forgets she even stepped foot on the court that night.
If you got people in a room,
Yeah.
if you got a bunch of dudes in a room and says, let's fuck up the WNBA, we couldn't have came up a master plan what these women have done.
But here's where things get really shady. Thomas wasn't just going after Clark supporters. By calling out Clark's fans, she subtly painted Clark herself as the root of the problem. Think about it. If Clark's influence is supposedly bringing out all this negativity, Thomas is indirectly making Clark look like some sort of villain in this whole mess.
Dejanay Carrington, as we've talked about earlier this week, in game 1, poked Caitlin Clark in the eye intentionally, in my view, and in most rational people's view. Your hands don't curl up, you jab people in the eye, and you pull your hand back immediately after you've accomplished your goal. Nothing happens to Dejanay Carrington. This isn't really even discussed. She gets questioned about it once. Caitlin Clark gets questioned about it. Caitlin Clark takes the high road. She's not engaging. Hats off to Caitlin Clark.
It's a sneaky way to tarnish Clark's image without actually throwing her name into the mud. And let's not forget, this isn't the first time these two have clashed. There was already some bad blood brewing from a previous incident that put them both at the center of controversy. Flashback to August 14th, 2024. During a heated matchup between the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun, Alyssa Thomas decided to set what can only be described as the hardest screen known to mankind on Caitlin Clark. And no, we're not talking about your run-of-the-mill basketball screen. Clark, known for zipping around the court like a bolt of lightning, was completely blindsided and went down like a ton of bricks. The impact was brutal. Fans watching live literally gasped, thinking she'd snapped an ankle or worse. And what did the refs do? They called an offensive foul on Thomas and then just brushed it off like it was no big deal. No review, no flagrant foul consideration.
The
nothing.
WNBA, because it's a woke league and because it's leaned into people directing their hatred of Caitlin Clark at Caitlin Clark fans.
Even some WNBA analysts jumped in like Diane Terasai, who didn't mince words about how poorly the whole thing was handled. She flat out said Thomas should have been ejected for a play that reckless. But did Clark herself make a big deal out of it? Not a chance. She popped right back up, flashed that trademark grin, and even gave a playful wink to the crowd as if to say, I'm good, and I'm not letting this mess me up. Classic Caitlin move. While everyone else was busy losing their minds over the lack of officiating, she stayed calm, collected, and unbothered. It was a powerful moment, one that just made her fans love her even more.
And it comes as a byproduct of, Caitlin, I love you to death. But girl, if you don't work on that defense, you ain't winning no championship.
But for Alyssa, that's when things started spiraling out of control. Clark's fans were furious, and they made sure Alyssa felt the heat online. At the same time, the league released a statement saying they suspended her. They officially took action because of that game. Instead of owning up to a play that could have easily injured one of the brightest stars in the league, she did the complete opposite. She started painting herself as the victim, claiming the backlash was all about race, not about her nearly taking out a rookie phenom. It was a total deflection, and anyone paying attention could see right through it. The fans were mad because she played dirty. Simple as that. Race had nothing to do with it.
She had to go to the NBA because of players calling all kinds of nasty racial names to Caitlin Clark, white bitch being the most of them. I mean, that's the players. Now they sit up there, the one idiot.
But Alyssa wasn't interested in explaining herself. Nope. She doubled down, throwing around accusations and pointing fingers, hoping to stir up enough chaos that people would stop focusing on why she was catching heat in the first place. For a minute, it looked like it might work. She managed to drag Caitlin Clark's name into the controversy and make it seem like the backlash she was getting was some sort of coordinated attack by Clark's racist fans. But let's be real, it was all just a smokescreen. When you strip it down to the basics, this whole mess started because Alyssa didn't want to own up to her reckless play and her terrible performance. So, she decided to weaponize controversy to shield herself from criticism.
Your most important player, the person that's driving all of your engagement. Everybody's making money off Caitlin Clark. She gets gouged in the eye by a player who clearly hates her. We've seen the previous behavior this season. We've seen her tweets, clearly hates her. WNBA, there's no statement being made. Hey, we got to be more careful. We got these ladies with these long fingernails. We can't have this happen. We investigated this. We don't think it's intentional. We do think it's intentional. None of that happened. It's an actual joke that it did happen. Something that the players can joke and laugh about and mock later.
And what's even crazier is that by going down this route, she's only made things worse for herself. Now, instead of just dealing with the fallout from a single game, she's turned it into a full-blown scandal. She thought she could dodge one controversy by creating another, but all she's done is dig herself into a deeper hole. And it wasn't just the fans kicking up a storm. Sports analysts and commentators from every corner of the internet chimed in, too. Former WNBA legends like Lisa Leslie and Cheryl Miller didn't pull any punches, labeling Thomas's hit as unsportsmanlike and flat-out dangerous.
Sports analysts and commentators from every corner of the internet chimed in, too. Former WNBA legends like Lisa Leslie and Cheryl Miller didn't pull any punches, labeling Thomas's hit as unsportsmanlike and flat-out dangerous.
Caitlin Clark came in as the most impactful player that the WNBA was seeing as a rookie based off of what we saw in college, from both off and on the court.
On ESPN's The Jump, the panel dissected the play frame by frame, with Rachel Nichols throwing major shade. You don't set a screen like that unless you're either making a statement or trying to injure someone. By the next day, every major sports show was all over it. Analysts on Around the Horn, Pardon the Interruption, and basically every hot take show imaginable were debating whether Thomas should have been ejected or flat out suspended. And just when it seemed things couldn't get any messier, Angel Reed jumped back into the fray. Because why not add a little more fuel to the fire? Reese, who's never been one to shy away from drama, took to social media and her own podcast to defend Thomas and to go after Clark's fan base.
One idiot is wearing her shades thinking she's some model. This one here, it's uncalled for. Let me tell you something else. It's very simple to do. See this phone? Don't go on social media.
She revived her own grievances against Clark's supporters, repeating the same old claims that Clark's fans were inherently biased and always coming after black players. But in the end, the controversy around Thomas's foul snowballed into something far bigger, something neither she nor Reese could control. What began as a questionable screen in a regular season game has now exploded into a full-blown scandal, putting both of them squarely on the hot seat. By trying to sidestep one mess, they managed to create an even bigger one, and now the spotlight is entirely on them, not Clark's